Pyscholudics, literally the study of the mind at play. This is a piece of theory called the play cycle, and presented to us by Gordon Sturrock and Perry Elves, and it helps us as play workers understand what is play. Are we seeing play and knowing that it is play that's happening? So, firstly, we consider the two worlds. The internal world, what is going on in the child's mind, that we will not know particularly what is happening, but the external world, this is the action, this is what we will see. So the first phase of the play cycle is what we call the Metallude. This is what's going on inside the brain, inside the child's mind, and we'll never kind of quite know what sparks the play, but what we will see is the action into the external world, and we call this a cue, a play cue. The child cues the world around them, and that can be anything from a punch, a kick, even just throwing something at someone or something. The cue does not have to be to another person, but can be to the environment. So walking into an echoey room, or under an echoey bridge, or tapping along railings. The cue is the invite to play, an invite to play. And what the child is wanting is a response, a play return. So I may tap something and I get a response, and then I may develop that cue, and when cues and response are happening, then flow, and the play cycle begins, and the child is then immersed in their play. When the child finishes their play, we get what we call annihilation, because they will stop. Understanding this is really important, because it may happen because there's another cue from somewhere else, and it will mean children may stop in the middle of stuff that they've got out or something they're doing. And knowing that means as adults we're not then saying, tidy that up before you move on to something else. It means the child has finished and is responding to another cue, or has just played out what they wanted to play with. All of this takes place within what we call the play frame. A play frame may be very little. A child may be under a table playing with something, and so their play frame is quite contained, quite small. It's whatever is containing this play. It may be, if it's a game of TIG, where the cue would have been a touch and a response would have been a chase, and the game of TIG ensues, then obviously the play frame is really big. The play frame may also be an emotional frame, so it could be children engaging in telling each other kind of scary stories, and it is that emotional frame that contains the play. Knowing frames means that we don't interrupt them, walk through them, destroy them, or if there's a clash of frames because the space in which the kids are is too small, then we as play workers can reframe, we can suggest other spaces, we can move stuff, we can consider where we place stuff within our setting. So, when we as adults stop play, and we have to if a session's ending or it's tidying up, then we have a particular word for this. We call it adulteration. A really strong word, but it's so that we know we are doing it, and then we can think about how we might sort of bring the play to an end for the kids, how we might kind of put music on or give them kind of 10 minutes, 5 minutes, a countdown, because when they're engaged in this and immersed in their play, it's quite a shock to come out of it. It would be like you watching your favourite television programme and I switched it off right in the middle of finding out who'd done it, or before the kind of case had been resolved. So it's why we give it a really strong kind of title. So we've got cues, we've got returns, or the response. When cues and returns are flowing, then play is happening and children are immersed in it. And again, we will never know what kind of sparks it from the kind of Metallude, and it's contained within a frame, a physical frame, or an emotional frame, and they can be big, small. The final part of the play cycle is understanding a child that may be doing this. Cue, a cue, a cue, a cue, and what they're getting is no response. And we call this display. A child that's not receiving any response, that's cueing and cueing and cueing, and a child that doesn't get returns to their cues may learn to then go in heavy. So this will be the child that they've tried little cues all the time, so suddenly they may go in with a hit, or they may go charging into a space and upset the play for others. If we as play workers can identify these children and respond to them, then we can respond and help them begin to engage within a play cycle that will help them flow and play with others. The play cycle, or Pyscholudics.